Hey everybody, what's going on? Today we're going to talk about runes. I'm going to talk about the runes themselves and how to approach gearing particular heroes. So hopefully I'm going to kind of help you get a grasp on the system. It's a lot of information, especially when you're new. So I'm going to try to simplify this and show you where you can find this information and kind of how to apply it moving forward. Of course, still ask questions. You can come over to the stream at twitch.tv/JGigs and ask me or anybody in my stream. I'm live 6 p.m. Eastern most weeknights. You can hop in my Discord. There's a link in the description. Very helpful group of people in there. Got a whole Calibria section of the Discord, and people have just been very, very open and willing to answer questions there. Also, before I get into it, I get asked a lot how I'm playing this on PC. I've got a link in my description to download BlueStacks. That is the app that I'm using on my PC that allows me to download and play mobile games. So head down to that link and check it out if you're wondering how to play these games on PC. All that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about it. There are 6 slots of runes, okay? Slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This looks like a lot of information, and it might feel like it's going to be a ton to memorize. I'm going to try to simplify this for you a bit so that you can commit this to memory a little bit easier. Understand that 1, 3, and 5, your odd numbers, are always going to be fixed. What fixed means is that there's no percentage next to it. If you look at all the stats of this game, you will see percentage attack and then attack without a percentage. That is what it means when it says fixed. You will also hear it referred to as flat. The way that you're going to hear stats talked about in this game is people are going to either say attack or they're going to say flat attack, okay? Because flat attack you rarely want. But flat and fixed are the same thing. But if I say rune someone's speed, attack, that means use attack percentage, and I'm going to explain what that means later. But if someone tells you to use a stat, just understand that unless it's speed, that they mean percentage, okay? So remember that your odd numbers are always flat stats as a main stat. 1 is always attack, 3 is always defense, 5 is always HP. That is always the way it will be. So if you're in campaign trying to farm runes and you need an HP percentage rune and you're farming on stage 1, it's never going to drop. You're only going to get fixed attack runes as a main stat. Now, you can find some stuff in your substats, but again, understanding that. Now, you'll see slot 2, 4, and 6. You have fixed HP percent, fixed attack percent, fixed defense percent. And that is the same for all of those slots. So those are all possible on your even slots. At the time of recording this video, I have yet to see a flat stat in 246. It has always been percentage. I don't know if that's something they plan to change or update. So even though it says it's possible here, I'm not seeing it, which is a very good thing. So understand that all those things are possible at 246. What makes 2, 4, and 6 different from each other is that slot 2 is the only place you'll ever find speed as a main stat. It is the only place that's ever going to happen as a main stat. Slot 4 is the only place you'll ever find crit rate or crit damage as a main stat. And slot 6 is the only place you'll ever find resistance and hit, which is also accuracy if you're coming from another game. Slot 2 is speed. Slot 4 is crit damage and crit rate. That's really all you need to remember. Understanding that fixed and percentages are possible at 246, and then that speed is always 2, and crit rate and crit damage are always 4. That's really the big thing to remember, okay? The rest of it will all kind of fall into place over time. You're rarely going to be looking for resistance and hit in slot 6 anyway. You're usually looking for attack, defense, or HP percentage there. So speed slot 2, crit rate and crit damage slot 4. The rest of it will all start to make sense over time. Also, when you come into your rune menu, this is where I found that information. If you scroll down to the bottom, it'll have that information I had. If you go under that, there is a list of what campaign stage drops which runes, so that you don't have to go into campaign, click the level, click the eye, and see what it is, and do that over and over until you find what you're looking for. You can just come in here and scroll to the bottom, and it tells you which campaign stage drops each rune. Then you can head to the stage and farm it. If you don't know whatever stage you're farming of a campaign level, that's what rune is going to drop. So if you're on Blackpool Hills 1, you're going to drop slot 1 runes for guard, I think it is. If you're farming stage 2 in Blackpool Hills, you'll be getting slot 2 runes in the guard set, so on and so forth, okay? So that's the general mechanics of runes. I think understanding that is a big thing. I think it seems so huge and vast and all these possibilities, but when you understand that 1, 3, and 5 are always fixed, slot 2 is the only place you can find speed. When you start to remember all those things, it makes a huge difference. It makes the whole system easier to grasp, okay? So, now we're going to move on to how to approach gearing a hero. Now again, do not hesitate to ask me questions in the comments, join the Discord, catch us in the stream. Continue to ask questions. That is a good way to learn. But hopefully I can point you in the right direction and give you some general ways to approach it as a newer player. Understand before I get into this, the more you learn, the deeper you get into this game, the more of an understanding you get, the more you're going to realize there are so many different ways to put runes on every single hero, right? There's going to be ways that a lot of people do it. There's going to be very common, patterns that people are using. But when people really start to stand out is when they start to experiment and do different things. And just understand there are different ways to do these things. So you can try whatever you like. If it doesn't work, that's okay, because in this game there's no cost of removing runes, at least as of yet. But you'll notice each hero has kind of a label right here. Assist, attack, defense, right? You can use this as a rule early on just to get comfortable with the concept of types of builds. This is not something you're going to want to rely on much later. To be honest, I don't even look at this at this point. A lot of players who've been doing this for a while don't even look at this anymore because we're only interested in what the skills do. It doesn't really matter how they're classified. This kind of gives you an idea of what it is they're supposed to do, gives you an idea of how their stats are going to scale as you power them up, but it really doesn't have much to do, ultimately, with how you're going to build them. Sometimes it seems like it will, but ultimately the skills are going to matter. The skills are going to be what dictate it. So understanding that typical damage builds are, speed, crit damage, attack. And again, that's what I'm talking about. If you say, how do I rune Lich King? And I tell you, attack, wild, sets, speed, attack, or speed, crit damage, attack. What I'm telling you is the 2, 4, and 6, because again, 1, 3, and 5 are always the same. So I'm telling you speed, crit damage, attack. And again, they have percentages because I'm never going to recommend a flat stat, right? So Lich King, damage sets, speed, crit damage, attack. Elven Queen, speed, HP, right? Because I want her to be fast, I want her to be tanky, I want her to do those things. So knowing what you want out of someone is important, and looking at their skills is what's going to give you that information. We're going to talk about Angel of Death because I feel like a lot of the newer players here are in the process of building their Angel of Death. The game gives you this hero. She is fantastic. She can be your farmer. She's going to be good in dungeons. She's going to be good in PvP. She's a very solid champ for them to give you straight out of the gate. So the way that you're going to want to focus building her is you want her to be like a damage dealer, okay? So the way that I've done it is I've got her on a Berserk set. Now it'll be a little while before you get your hands on Berserk runes. So the sets you look for on her are attack, agile, wild, and focus is not a bad idea either. She's got some pretty nice debuffs. But these are the ones I would say to look for on her pretty early on. Attack, agile, wild, and focus. Attack and agile are 4 sets. Wild and focus are 2 sets, okay? That means you have to put 2 of them on to complete a set, whereas agile, you have to put 4 of them on. And then there is a 6-piece bonus. Now, completing that means that these stack. So if I put 6 pieces of agile runes on someone, they'll get 25% speed and 15% energy at the end of their turn, okay? So with an attack set, if I do 4 pieces, they'll get the attack plus 35%. 6 pieces, they'll ignore 15% of the enemy's defense. Having 6 pieces of an attack set on is going to be very handy, especially on Angel of Death, okay? So I'm pretty sure that as you go through your missions and your quest in the fight tab and different things, at some point it's going to give you a set of attack gear. It's going to give you 6 pieces of attack gear, Just put them all on her. They're going to be good for her. And you'll see we've gone speed, we've gone crit rate, and I went hit because I'm specifically using her in the dungeons, and I need her to land that heal block. So I'm trying some things with her. But the way that you're going to want to build her is speed or attack percentage, probably speed though, and then you're probably going to want to go attack percentage here and attack percentage here. As you progress a little further and your rune inventory gets a little deeper, you will be able to play around with going crit damage here, or crit rate, or even crit damage later, okay? But you want her fast, and you want her to have some good attack stats, because that's mostly what she's going to be doing, especially if you're going to be using her to farm. You're going to be building her like a damage dealer. And then as far as your substats go, there are different qualities of rune. That's going to dictate how many substats are on the rune when you receive it. So, for example, a white rune will have no substats. A green rune, a magic, will have one substat. So that means when I roll it to 3, instead of getting a new random substat, I'm going to roll attack. So here's what I mean by that. Whoops. I meant to enhance that. All right, I'll fix that later. I thought I clicked enhance. All right, so right here, you're going to get power-ups at 3, 6, 9, and 12 in your substats. When I roll this to 3, you will see that attack went up, okay? Now when I roll it to 6, I'll get a new substat. 9, I'll get a new substat. 12, I'll get a new substat. Whereas this rune was blue by default. It's a rare rune. It already has 2 substats. So when I roll it, at 3 and 6, I have an opportunity to roll into either of those substats. Okay? So you see how it's... And then at 9 and 12, I'll get 2 new substats. So now you can see the power in a legendary rune. Even though that one's 4-star. Let me show you a good legendary rune. I'm pretty sure... Maybe Lich King? So here we have a legendary rune. That means by default it already had 4 substats, which means there's a lot of potential for me to stack a substat. So I've got 19% attack and a substat on this rune, right? Here I've got 20% crit rate because this was a heroic rune. It had crit rate there, and I got lucky and rolled it all 3 times. Okay, so that's why legendary runes are so much stronger. Epic runes are very good. Rare runes can even be good. They can all be good. Right, but the potential, rolling those speed rolls over and over in your substats on runes, things like that are going to be very important. So I think that covers it. When you're trying to approach how to rune a hero, go into their skills and see what it is they do, how you want to use them, how you think they're going to benefit you. If it's someone that's offering support to the team, more often than not, you want them to be really fast and you want them to be really tanky. If it's someone that's supposed to do damage, you want them to be fast. You want them to have good crit stats and a good attack stat. If it's a tank, for example, that has provokes in their kit, you want them to be tanky and you want them to have good hit or accuracy so that they can land the provokes and do their job. Medusa, for example. She's very debuff heavy. She lands a lot of poisons. I know that I want a focus set on her. I know that I want her hit to be high, right? So I've got her on a speed set because, of course, I want her to be fast. I've got her on HP percentage at 4, or I've got her on defense at 6. But I want her to be tanky, and then I've got her on the focus set, again, for the hit. So just look at their skills, see what they do, see how you think they're going to benefit you. If they seem debuff heavy, if they strip buffs, things of that nature, they're going to need some hit. They're going to need some accuracy. Most heroes are going to need speed, if I'm going to be honest with you. So agile sets are going to be in high demand. Speed slot 2 runes are going to be in high demand, right? But you have to look at their skills. Don't get too hung up on this. You can use it as guidance if you're new, but don't get too hung up on that because that'll lead you astray. For example, Demonic Swordsman says he's an attack. I use him as a tank. I want him to be fast. I need to get his tank stats higher, but I want him to be alive for as long as possible in the dungeons so that he can help my team turn cycle, right? So I've got him built more along the lines of a tank, even though he's technically an attack hero, because I want to use him differently than maybe it thinks I'm supposed to, right? So that'll all come later. For now, just follow the general idea and ask questions. Hit me up in the comments, join my Discord, catch us in the stream, ask us questions. We are happy to help, and we understand it. It's a lot. It's a lot of information. It takes a while. So just understand that it's going to take you a while. Don't get frustrated. Don't hesitate to reach out and ask questions. So that's going to do it. I hope this helps. This is always a tough one to cover because it's ultimately so broad. It's really hard to cram it down into one video. So in time, I will be putting out some guides on specific heroes to give you points of reference, but hopefully this gives you a general idea while you wait on that. So that's it. I've rambled long enough. Thank you for watching. If it helped you out, a like and a subscribe would help me out a lot. I would really appreciate it. And other than that, thanks. Links in the description for all kinds of stuff. Check it out. I'll see you guys tomorrow.